Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Playbook. This is episode number 67, and this week's guest is Brooke Overton with 54 Realty. How are you doing today, Brooke?
Amazing. How are you doing?
Excellent. I see you very festive here for the holidays.
Absolutely. I'm a walking jingle bell.
There you go. Look like a candy cane.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you getting ready for the holidays with the kiddos?
Yes, definitely. If you catch me in a showing in the next couple days, will be kind of how I'm dressed. A little bit like Noelle. It's a Disney movie, but yeah.
There you go. You got a stack of presents to hand out for any kids you see on the way?
Yeah, a couple. Yep, absolutely.
Pulling up in a sled, huh?
Yeah.
All right, Brooke, let's get right into it. One of the things we like to talk about is, we try to understand the psyche, the stages of progression, how certain agents get into success rather quickly, and then also maintain that. So first we'd like to start, go back a little bit in time and find out kind of your mindset of why exactly it is that you became a realtor.
So I became a realtor 3.5 years ago. I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 years. I'd got my pharmacology degree in Buffalo and moved down to Florida 10 years ago. There's nothing you can really do with a pharmacology degree down here. So
what is a pharmacology?
It's pharmacology and toxicology, so it's how to make drugs and research them in clinical trials and things like that. But it's not dispensing drugs. That's a PharmD. So all the research is kind of done up north. I moved down here, and there's not a whole market for that. So I started a family, and then I was looking for a way to make some extra income, and I got into real estate because I saw it as a career of service, and I'd been a bartender, server for a decade as well, paying for college, things like that, and I just it started as a part-time thing for extra income for my family. Oh, we'll go on vacation, this and that, and then it just evolved into just this addiction. I just love it. I love my job. So now I produce at a high level, and it's amazing.
That's awesome. So when you're kind of doing it part-time, when you first got in, just kind of doing the extra income, was it more you're kind of like a homemaker, going to stay home with the kids, and then just get some extra disposable income?
Yeah, like I'm not going to sell Color Street or something like that. I don't want to be in a pyramid scheme or have to be on Facebook, selling $5 here and $5 there. I wanted to take my experience, which I'm a very analytical person, educated person, and then take my experience, serving my family, being at home, serving as a bartender, as a server, and just really bring a different aspect to real estate in that, I really just want the best for my clients and my customers, and, always put my best foot forward for them, advocating for them.
So the Tupperware parties didn't really
no. Yeah, I'm just not into that. I can't wing it.
Well, one thing you kind of harped on, which is our next question, is what did you do prior to real estate? So with you, a service and bar, very similar to me and my wife. We had extensive hospitality experience prior to getting into real estate. And one thing we like to ask is obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that get licensed. 15% of them make it after 2 years. Yep. But there's going to be some attributes or key things that you might pick up along the way prior to becoming a realtor that helps ensure that you not only get into production quicker, but just have a greater chance of success and understand some, value propositions, or maybe, certain things with the mindset that you kind of picked up from a trait before.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you learned from the hospitality industry that you were able to segue into real estate to help get you into production quicker?
Definitely, like perseverance, integrity is another one. Your clients know, they can tell who you are within that first, second visit, and the more time that they spend with you, you can't really fake it. You have to be a person of integrity. You also have to be somebody that's going to go the extra mile, and in real estate right now, it's the extra 10 miles, and not complain about it. Do it with a smile on your face, and just know that, you were put in this position to help people make the best decision of their life. Which, becoming a homeowner, it changes your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I'd also think that in my, past, when I kind of recollect on being in that job sector there, bartending and serving, the customer service, putting the consumer first, not worried about proving a point, proving who's right, but hey, accomplishing the goal, the mission. And I think a lot of times people who don't have that interaction, I seem to sometimes they have a barrier with communication.
Yes. definitely. And you can't fake it. It's one of those things. And I feel like bartending and serving, or even just being a parent, right? It teaches you just how to communicate with people on so many different levels. And, you don't always have to be right. The ego needs to, because the number one thing in this business I can't stand is people's egos, and it really just breaks that down. Absolutely, yeah, and it breaks it down. I think a lot of the top producing agents, they have had, moments or a significant moment in their life where, that barrier has been broken, and it's made them a better agent and just better able to connect with people and help serve them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I know a lot of times, before getting into real estate, you had this vision, it's going to be some part-time income, we're going to get these awesome vacations, get some downtime. A lot of other agents might have these grandiose visions of, hey, I'm going to make all this money, this is going to be my career. Everybody sees all these luxury shows, real estate's quote-unquote super easy.
Oh, yeah.
What's the one thing that you either A, took for granted, or B, didn't expect when you first got into real estate?
I didn't expect how much I would love it, honestly. So, the healthcare system, honestly, with my kids really taught me how to just navigate through people. I would hit brick walls and I would get a no, and I would find an avenue. And I just have really taken that 5 years of that and putting it into real estate. And I've, saved a lot of deals by just hearing a no 100 times, but then on 101st time, here we go. Or just, we're on the county, we're on title, we're on the lender, like we're going to get this done, because you have people that are like, I've been trying to buy a home for 4 years, can you help me? I've been through 3 realtors, and yeah, maybe they're not the most qualified, or maybe they have this going against them, but just holding their hand and getting them to the finish line, it changes their life. And I take my job very seriously, and I never expected how much I would just love it,
Yeah, and I'm going to sum that up as passion. You didn't understand how much passion you'd have for the business getting into it.
Absolutely.
We started as going to be part-time. Yeah. Kind of grew into something that you love, and where it doesn't even seem like a job.
It doesn't. Like, I literally worked every day this year. I'm going to take probably 4 days off for the holidays. Last year I didn't. This year I'm excited to have the opportunity to do that. But, especially during the hot market, it'd be a Sunday night at 8 o'clock, and I'd be like, man, I just can't wait until market opens tomorrow, and, things are back in order, because I work all weekend, but, lenders don't work all weekend, title doesn't work all weekend. So to really get stuff done, it's kind of Monday through Friday. I'd get a couple of contracts Saturday and Sunday, but really just couldn't wait to get rolling. And being a math science nerd for my whole life, I just didn't expect how gratifying this career would be. So,
yeah, and it's very weird attributes when you kind of put together. Like, I'm very similar, where you're high D, high drive. You have that hospitality experience. You know how to communicate with people, but then you're also highly analytical, which is a very rare combination that you don't see too often in the marketplace. One thing also that's rare to see that people can't juggle is balance, right? Mm-hmm. Like a family life balance. Not only are you, a top producer, not only are you super successful, but you also have a lot of responsibilities, running your household, being a mom, being a wife, all that stuff. Why don't you share with the audience a little bit, because one of the things I think most agents struggle with, especially moms, for whatever reason, we see a lot from female agents, they're trying to find the balanced life, especially with young kids. What are some of the disciplines you've put into your life where you can achieve this level of success while still ensuring that you're always there for your girls?
So, my girls are very, they have a lot going on medically and, behaviorally because of the medical stuff. So it can be, if you just walk into my house, it sounds very chaotic, and most of my work is done from home. I don't come to the office to do work. And sometimes I sit there and think, I'm like, how do I get this all done? Because it sounds like a zoo in here. There's only 3 people in here right now. However, the volume's a level 12. But I really taught my kids through just rewards, systems, that when mommy picks up the phone, this is how we get to go to Disney World. This is how we help. My kids love to come to final walkthroughs once in a while. If I get, if I'm really close to a client, they know my family, things like that. And my girls absolutely love to see their face when they're doing a final walkthrough, and they love oh my gosh, thank you for helping me. My girls, they just eat that up. They're like, yeah, mommy did that, so they really love that. The discipline though was on the phone. When I'm on the phone at home, it just needs to be a quiet area. I did have to buy a new house to get that accomplished, I'm not gonna lie, with a little more space. But I bought during this softer market 6 weeks ago. Is the best decision I ever made. I'm holding on to my other house, renting it out. It's a really great time to buy. So mostly, just reward systems. When I'm on the phone, you need to be quiet, and then when we're off the phone, we get to play or do something like that.
So I hear discipline a lot. With the reward system, you're instilling discipline in your daughters.
Yep.
Kind of beliefs. They're understanding. Hey, if we behave, then this is and let mom work.
Yep.
Then we're going to go get to partake in these grandiose activities that the fruits of mom's hard labor is going to be able to provide for us as a family.
Absolutely. They remember when I didn't make money for years. They remember that very well. So
they're a little, even as girls, at a younger age, a little bit humble, being like, hey, we really appreciate this.
Absolutely, yes.
So let's segue, while we're on the topic of discipline, let's segue into, you have a lot going on. I see you're active, obviously, on social media, always going with the girls, running them in and out of activities, hospitals, unfortunately sometimes doctor's appointments, very active with their schools.
Yeah.
Talk about the discipline of your schedule. So if somebody wants an abstract idea, they have a schedule as hectic as yours, let them know how Brooke kind of formulates her calendar to ensure not only is she always there for her family's needs, but also there for her clients.
Yeah, so I kind of do like a weekly plan, and then I do a night before plan, because with real estate things are always changing. I'm literally in a multiple offer situation today. So that hasn't gone away. And sometimes when somebody needs to see the house, they need to see it now. The good news is though that's usually a half hour. I don't show homes for an hour and a half. We're not going to measure everything all on the first showing. Things like that. We'll come back for a second showing. That's fun. But I think it's really just setting that schedule up for boundaries, that if you plan a half-hour showing, keep it to a half hour. If you're planning a half-hour phone call, keep it as close to a half hour as you can. And then, before nightly, make sure that you have that work-life balance, because when one thing starts getting thrown off, it will throw off the other thing as well. And then pretty soon you feel like jack of all trades, good at nothing. Everything's imploding. So I think being scheduled with your Google Calendar, which I think syncs the best out of any calendar, and syncing that up, adding everything. If you plan on going grocery shopping, add it in your calendar. And then you can have this time just blocked off every day that's free time, and that allows you to just unwind, and your kids to unwind. And having those boundaries, it just really helps your family know that, okay, right now you're unavailable, but just like when your partner is at the office or at their job from 8 till 6, and nobody bothers them. Well, just because you're home doesn't mean you have to drop everything. Like, you have a set schedule too. However, look at this, from 5 to 9, I'm totally free. We're cooking dinner, we're making Christmas cookies, we're seeing Christmas lights. This is what we're doing.
So what I'm kind of taking away from that is, one, setting expectations not only for yourself, your family, but also your clientele.
Yeah.
And by that, sticking to your schedule. Hey, I'm going to book you here. You got 5:36. I got another appointment. So you have a half hour of my time. Take as much as you want.
Yep.
Unfortunately, at 6, I got to run to my next appointment.
Absolutely.
Regardless of what that quote unquote appointment is.
And that's what you taught me. When I started 2.5 years ago, you taught me the importance of that. That first year, I let it blend a little. I was like, okay, I'm hungry. Unfortunately, my family's going to have to understand that I'm trying to put food on the table here. But no, when it started to blend, it did get messy. It didn't work. And you were so right about that, this appointment is an appointment. Whether it's an appointment with your wife or it's an appointment with a client, those are both appointments. And those are both special people to do, so. And
you also, by setting those expectations, also taking control of the relationship. I think you see more of an advisor role, and someone's going to trust you, rather than if you're like Johnny on the spot, always showing up at a house.
That is so right. Yes, absolutely.
So essentially, what it sounds like, to sum it up, is you run your business like a business, like anybody would. A normal business, just you kind of do it more cloud-based from home.
Yep, definitely. Mostly from home, but 54 you guys have so many great resources, a lot of great leadership, and that's just, developed me from becoming this kind of like, oh, well, I want to go see it at 9. No, I have 8 available, to just, and really going with all of that flow, being burned a few times, and then, disappointing myself my family for nothing, right? And then being like, okay, this is why they teach us like this. This is your schedule. Make your schedule. This is how you run your business. And it's made me a better agent because of it.
Yeah, and you've had massive growth the past couple of years. I know obviously a little of that's going to be due to the market, but I don't want to take anything away to devalue you. Obviously, you put a lot into it. You've had 400 or 500% growth year over year. What are a new agent, maybe it's a struggling agent that isn't in production. If you were to give them like one tidbit of information, what would be the one thing you tell them to kind of focus on to ensure that they could have a similar level of success like you've had?
One thing, I think that, I was at another brokerage, and, I wasn't supplied with any of the resources that I am here. So definitely you have to choose a brokerage that supports their agents, that wants to see growth, that wants to teach you how to generate your own business, as well as providing business, because providing leads, because when you first start, even if you been here your whole life, people are not going to trust you as their realtor. Grandma doesn't want you to sell her $2 million house as your first listing. That's just how it is. They want to hire somebody experienced. So I think it's very important to start with a brokerage that provides leads, that provides support. But then also, I really think it goes to integrity and that perseverance. And you really, I kind of treat it like a courtroom situation. When I have a listing, I'm not trying to double end that thing that's just not how I run my listings either. I represent you and your best interest, and I'm going to advocate for that. Don't make this career about yourself. Make it about serving others. I think is the most important part.
Absolutely. So the first part I got is a broker partnership. I always look at it as any agent that partners with our brokerage. A lot of brokerages might look at it as an agent working for our brokerage, but here it's a true partnership. And you as the agent, I feel are a free agent every day in the marketplace. Like
Absolutely.
You can 10-9 go where you like. So it's one, finding a brokerage fit that's going to be best suited to meet your needs. And kind of in line with your culture, what you're looking for, and it's a win-win situation for both parties. Then the other is just kind of what I consider do the right thing, do good business. You don't have to be unscrupulous. There's plenty to go around. It's easy to take shortcuts, but if you work hard and do the right thing, it's going to reciprocate and turn into this massive amount of success that you've had.
And work through those brick walls. There's been a lot of really crazy files I've had last year that, during the hot market, and, it was just calling a lot of people, leadership, and just busting through those brick walls. And now I'm faced with the same thing here this year. I know exactly how to handle it. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't stress me out. All right, this is what we're doing. And something that seemed like Everest last year, it's just like a little bump in the road. So I think that those really hard files and those difficult transactions, I think that they make you a great agent.
Yeah, absolutely. They always say, you're not going to experience peace without suffering. A lot of times,
That's right.
You kind of get caught up in your own head. You're suffering through these transactions. It's so difficult. You want to make it done. You want to do right, but things are out of your control, right? So it's just kind of having that perseverance, the patience, the understanding on how to facilitate that and kind of navigate that as best you can to bring it to the finish line.
Definitely.
So you talked a little about, like this year, the market obviously is nowhere near what it was 6 months ago.
Right.
And this year you're not as worried as you were in years past when you're kind of going through these things, not understanding, exactly what everything goes into it and how ultimately you can only control a certain amount of things.
Right.
What are some things that you're personally doing in your business to ensure that you're going to achieve this level of success for years to come?
I am trying to create more business in my sphere and just try to get more connected with my community, which is it seems easier than it is. When you have all these things on your plate, it's hard to take an hour to do this, an hour to do that. But that's really my goal this year, is to do the social activities, to get out and meet other people. My husband, he just started real estate this year, and he bartends as well, and he just knows so many people through so many jobs that he's sold more to people that he knows than taking leads, and that really impresses me. He just has a lot of friends that are like, oh, I'm ready to buy, and I'm like, wow, lucky duck. But at the same time, it's not luck. Like, he built those relationships, and as a stay-at-home mom, that was something that is very hard for me to do, because you can't just go to tap house here with a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, but when you're just a single man, that's easier to do. But I do want to make myself more available to the community, serve my community more, and just be that resource.
Yeah, it's funny how when you work hard and seize an opportunity, you become luckier, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So with all that being said, it sounds like you're just kind of want to do more face-to-face, really get embedded within your community, although you're willing to drive all over the area, work to, service the clients wherever their needs are to fulfill, you really wanted to kind of pick up more market share in your communities.
Yeah.
Get more involved, be there, and get involved in the farming and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I try to want to break into the luxury market in Lakewood Ranch. That's been my goal since last year. But Chris Marco Trigiano, she really helped shape my edge. I really got my edge, I think, last year, and that has helped me with a couple of the luxury transactions that I've completed, and I hope to really bust into the luxury market in Lakewood Ranch, because I think that I'm a different product than what they're used to seeing in that market, and I'd like to take my skills and excel there.
Absolutely, and just kind of keep going forward and keep growing on what you've already, the foundation that you've developed.
Yeah.
So, where are the markets headed? What do you have as far as, do you have any predictions or expectations? What are you starting to see? So, from what I've seen on the aerial view, we hit our biggest lull as far as transactions going pending around mid-August to mid-October to mid-November.
Yes.
We've been upticking a little bit since then, week over week, seems to be picking up momentum. What are you seeing on your end working with your buyers and sellers?
Yeah, like I said, I'm in a multiple offer situation right now. Hopefully I win. But I know that there's 8 offers on the table. However, it's a for sale by owner, so could really go either way, How many offers really are there? I'm not too sure. Under the 350 in Bradenton, under 400, it's a hot market, and rates are not crazy. They're absolutely reasonable. When I bought my first home 4 years ago, that's exactly what I paid, these rates. They were normal, they were the standard. I know you still have the supply shortages, you still have the demand as well. You just have people that are like, oh, I'm going to rent until the rates come down. However, everybody's doing that, and it kind of reminds me of Disney, right? When you get in line at Disney, you don't even know what line you're in. There's this long line, and you just jump in because you're like, oh, there must be something really great, But everybody's in the same line, and right now I feel like it's just such a great time to buy. That's why I bought 6 weeks ago. I'm getting great deals for my buyers, however, and rates are normal, so nothing astronomical. And just getting those deals, though, keeping your whole 30-day finance contingency, having a nice 10-day inspection, all those things, I could not get you if I sold a kidney 6 months ago, I was bidding in bidding wars 20, 30 deep, and I remember 2 I won. We outbid 26 other people. They were with loans too. One was with an FHA loan actually, and we outbid 5 cash buyers. But it was a nail biter the whole way, And it's not that right now. It's very comfortable. It's very relaxed. It's just a very normal normal negotiations. And if I could, I'd buy another one right now, especially to buy and rent. It's just great. The rental market is ridiculous. To rent a 3-2 in Bradenton where I live, it's anywhere from $2,800 to $3,200 without a pool. So I just feel like nobody's kind of in line right now to buy, but they should be. It's like Princess Jasmine's out there. Where's the line? But then once everybody starts buying again, rates drop a little more, everybody starts buying again. So what happens to the prices? Now we have bidding wars again. So, I really just think, especially during the holidays, it's slower. I see January, February, March, picking back up. People are used to these rates. People have been sitting on the sidelines. They've maybe signed 6-month leases. Maybe they're going month to month. But I hear from a lot of buyers that, they're about ready.
Yeah. No, I've been seeing that too. And then one thing I always pay attention is, obviously the news, you're going to get a lot of negative media. Usually they're 3-4 months lagging. And it's always going to be doom and gloom. Whatever's ahead is going to be the worst ever. But one thing I pay attention to is where's the money at. So all the real estate trusts and hedge funds, not only are they not selling any of their inventory, but they're still actively buying. And I think that's one thing that doesn't get reported on.
Oh, I had an investor 2 months ago. It was in October. And I was kind of discussing this. He was looking at a $1.5 million waterfront home in St. Pete. And I was setting up the showing. We got to talking and things like that. He lives in West Palm Beach. And I was talking to him about these investors and basically how shady it is. How, this doom and gloom is spread on the media. Meanwhile, all these hedge funds are buying up so much property, especially in Florida. And I said it's, something around 10%, and he says, no, it's 15%. I'm one of those hedge funds investors. And he was straight up about it, too. Mm-hmm. And nice guy, but yeah, they're not selling, they are still buying. And homes are still appreciating. It's not normal for homes to appreciate at 32% per year over year. But, a 5%, especially to a first-time home buyer, I don't really think people understand until they buy that first home the way that equity works. And it really is the difference between wealth, really generational wealth, and just having assets. You don't really realize how much you're just throwing away when you rent and rent and rent until you do buy that first home. You see how much equity, like my first home doubled in value in 4 years. Just bought another home. We won't ever sell that first home. I mean, it's got like a 2.8% rate. It's, the mortgage is cheap. You can't sell that home right now because you can rent it for so much. And that's what I think a lot of, especially younger people coming out of college, because this is nothing that they teach you and taught me in college, paid a lot for my degree, never taught me anything about the importance of owning your own home versus renting. And I think, especially these VA buyers, I closed one in November, he didn't pay $1 out of pocket. He even got his escrow deposit refunded because there's just so much, the appraisals are coming in so much higher than the contract prices. So.
And with seller concessions and all that, sometimes.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh, yeah, it's amazing. We got full closing costs covered so much that he even got his escrow deposit back. So he literally paid for, the lender paid for the appraisal. He literally paid $500 for the inspection. That was
That's
it.
Awesome.
It was amazing, yeah. And that's what our veterans deserve. And I would like to see more veterans owning their own homes,
I couldn't agree more. And so, whether it's a veteran or a first-time home buyer, somebody looking to buy, maybe in the luxury market, looking to sell, especially that Bradenton, Sarasota area.
Oh, yeah.
What's the best phone number and email to reach out on?
Yeah, so my phone number is, my personal cell is 315-439-3013. And then my email is Brooke, Brooke, at 54realty.com.
Well, thank you so much, Brooke. It's been a pleasure having you as a guest.
Thanks for having me.
This week's podcast, we'll make sure to get that information plastered all over social media sites and everywhere that this podcast is.
Great.
We greatly appreciate having you.
Thanks.
And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Real Estate Playbook.
Thank you so much.
Take care.